Welcome and welcome to yet another episode of Being a Man. The adventure from boyhood to manhood. I'm super glad to have you join this conversation. It's been another week, and today is going to be another awesome conversation, groundbreaking conversation, I tell you. So I want to say hi from wherever you are joining us from. I love the fact that you've been part of this conversation for the 10th episode. I'm happy to on this conversation, and we've had different men who have come to share their adventures. And today we have a special guest that will be joining us. And I am Ouabo Esaie, founder of Boys Mentoring Advocacy Network. I'm happy to have Professor Ouele joining us right now. And before I let him into the conversation, I briefly want to give you an idea of what Boys Mentoring Advocacy Network is all about. Like I said, I am Ouabo Esaie, founder of Boys Mentoring Advocacy Network, also known as the humanitarian guru. Also, I am a literacy activist, and the goal of this conversation is to explore a man's journey from boyhood to men. We look into the relationship to their fathers or father figures, or who was influential in the life of this in the life of our guests. And it's amazing how this conversation is helping a lot of people globally. We appreciate your joining us. And before I say I bring my guest, let me quickly introduce Professor Ouele. Is a big brother from our neighbors here in Nigeria, but is in the US. Professor Ouele is a teacher, a musician, a writer, a motivational speaker, a social activist, businessman, and an advocate for people with disabilities. So he's making the world a better place with his music, his books, and the educational enlightenment he brings with motivational speaking events around the world. His messages challenges the discrimination we often so take for granted against each other based on color, class, and creed. Professor Ouele strives to become the voice of those who are yearning to be heard. Welcome, Prof.
Thank you so much.
It's good to have you join us today. And in this episode, you are the 10th person, and you make the 2 digits. So it's a unique, very unique conversation for me. And I'm going to start from your book, because I just read a bit of it, and it was such a touching story. I know you use pseudonyms there. You use names that does not really portray this happens to Professor Ouele or something like that. How did it happen that you don't even know your parents in the first place? I don't understand how that happens.
How I wrote the book? Could you say that again?
Yes, I say, how did it happen that you said in your book you never met your parents?
You know, I'm a writer, and I wrote a book. It is an the book is a combination of autobiography and what happened to other people with disability in their daily life. It is not fully my story because I have my parents, I met them, but I'm talking on behalf of those who have no voice. I'm the voice of the voiceless. So that's a story of somebody, something that happened to a human being, and I'm relating it, pretending that it is happening to me so that it comes more to life.
Oh, I understand now. I understand because I really want to get to know why that happens. Well, I agree that this could have happened to an individual. I may not know, but would you share with us your experience growing up as a young boy? Were you born with disabilities? How did you come about your disabilities? What led to it, and all of that?
Okay, just to end up my presentation, I just want to add that do have a PhD in special education, so I really am a doctor, as you mentioned, and I spend most of my life with people with disabilities. And to just to answer your question, I was born without any disabilities, and I grew up just like other kids. I started walking around the house when I was 9 months old. And when I turned to 12 months, which was my very first birthday, I had what is called polio. Polio is a disease killing a lot of kids, mostly in Africa and some part of the world. So I was victim of polio, and that paralyzed me on my very first birthday anniversary. So I was completely paralyzed from my legs to my arms, and I have to scroll for many years as a snake. And by the grace of God and thanks to the power of the medicine, with time, I stood up again after 4 more years and started learning to walk again. It was a great challenge, and I'm a post-polio survivor. I'm a polio survivor, and I live with what is called post-polio syndrome.
Wow.
Yes.
So, as the man who has experienced a kind of a health challenge, like that got you paralyzed, how has this been a challenge to your growing up?
Oh, yeah, I grew up in a different way because, first of all, without legs or without or my arms functioning properly, I felt like I was not functioning in my full capacity, and I have to use my brain in a different way, reset my brain in a different way because, you know, as an African, many people think that when you have a disability, or the only option you have is to beg in the street. You don't need to go to school. You are a curse for your family. You know how it works in Africa. People say everything about people with disabilities. I was aware of that situation when I was still a baby, being bullied by other peers, and I decided that I'm going to be an overcomer, and that there will be no obstacles on my way. And I grew up with the mentality of an overcomer. So that's, for me, I didn't want to use my disability as an excuse. And I made it. I was able to overcome my disability, and today I'm leading as an example for other people living with disabilities.
Prof, this is very touching. I tell you, I like to really want to know how you can explain to maybe people living with disabilities who will see this conversation afterwards. How were you able to install this overcomers mentality? How did you set it into your life? Was there someone who introduced you to it, or how did you come about it that this mentality is needed for me to scale through all of these challenges in your early years?
Oh yeah, as I said, my growing up was not an easy task for me. I grew up in a very hostile environment where there is no accommodation for people with disability, in contrary to America, where everything is set up for people with disabilities. Born and grew up in Africa, in an area where there is no wheelchair. You have to go in the forest to cut the tree to use as a cane, because the parents were not fortunate enough to buy me a cane or a wheelchair. So I grew up in very poor environment, and everybody with disability around me, all of them were beggars. They were in the street, begging in the street, and I feel that I should not do it. I should work differently. And to work differently, I say, okay, one of the ways for me to succeed is to focus on my education. Because when I grew up, my father always asked me the question, what would you do when you grow up? I told my dad when I was 15 years, I'll be a teacher. So having that mindset mentality at the earlier age prepared me to overcome all obstacles in my life. And my father did a wonderful job in the motivation aspect. He did not treat me as a person with disabilities, and that really helped me to overcome all challenges. My brothers and sisters did not view me as a person who cannot, but allowing me and pushing me to do everything. That really helped me to develop and to enhance the power I have inside me. And I at a certain point, I just noticed that I have some potentials that other people do not have. For example, going to school, people, my brothers and sisters, they were carrying me on their back to go to school. And when they drop me to school, I say my resolution to thank them is to focus on my education. I was always the best student in my classroom from elementary to university, from elementary level to university. And when I realized that I have that potential, nothing stopped me. Everything that I was doing, I wanted to be perfect. And the first step was education. As I was the best student in the classroom, that kept me motivated. I added music, and I became one of the best singer in my school. That I added more motivation, and I started writing books when I was in the secondary school. And my teacher said, okay, you are writing a book, but you don't know. I showed it to my teacher. He said, yeah, that's a book. And I kept writing, keeping writing. At a certain point, that turned to a book. So I'm an overcomer, motivated by my father, my brothers, and the hostile environment, because I use the hostile environment as an opportunity, not as an obstacle. So I say, although the environment is very hostile, I'm going to overcome it and be the best of the best, so that when people see me, they will say, yes, you are powerful. And that's where I am now. I don't invite anything from people without disability, because I do more than what people without disability can do. I do more than them. So for me, there are those. In my book, I even say, if you pretend that you are not a disabled, it clearly means that you are somebody who is sick, but who is ignoring that you are sick. Yes. So that's why I am.
Yes, yes, Prof. I read in that your book that where you talk about there are a lot of people in the world today that are morally disabled, that need spiritual crutches.
Yeah, spiritual crutches.
Yes. So I like it too. Yes. When I got to that caught my attention, and I was going to ask you to expatiate or explain this a little bit, what you mean by that statement.
Okay, so people calling. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. You can put your phone on do not disturb so that their call cannot come in now. But if you don't know how to do that, let the
That's fine.
conversation
Yeah,
continue.
let's keep moving. Yeah, let's keep moving. So yes,
So let's keep the momentum. Yeah.
Basically, I always challenge anyone, and finally, I always tell people that this world is led by people with disabilities. Because when you look at people who are leading this world, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who led America, has polio just like me, but he was the president 3 times. Even for the 4th time, they gave him an exceptional extension to be the president for the 4th time. In America, you cannot be a president for 2 times. No, for the 3rd time, I'm sorry. In America, you are the president only twice, 2 terms, but they give him the 3rd time. He has polio. Beethoven has polio. What? Bill Gates, what that the guy who has Apple, the owner of the Apple Steve Jobs has autism. Beethoven, autism. So many people around the world you see, they have a disability, but they find different ways to overcome it. So I can spend the whole conference giving you the name of people with disabilities. Messi, who is one of the best players in the world, he has autism, but people don't know. Look at what Messi is doing. Nobody can challenge Messi on the field of soccer or football. He's the one of the best, but most of those people, they live with a kind of disability and they develop some aspect of their life to overcome their disability and turn to best people in other areas, and that make them very prosperous.
You talk about your father being very supportive to your development, especially, and the support system you have from your siblings.
Yes.
What advice do you have for a disabled person whose family abandoned and neglected, that do not receive the same support you received growing up?
Or I can say that, I always tell people with disability, because I work with them for more than 20 years, creating different association to support them, being the president of those associations. That helped me to understand their daily challenge. So based on my personal observation and research, people with disability are facing 2 types of challenges. The first challenge is to accept themselves, because most of them, they don't accept themselves. And that is one of the very difficult obstacles to overcome. They don't accept themselves. The second obstacle is that people around them, they discriminate them. They have a lot of prejudices related to them. So there are 2 obstacles. But if the first obstacle is done, if they are able to overcome the first obstacle, which means self-acceptance, it may help them, whether they have the support of their father or their parents or not. They can easily overcome the second obstacle and find a new way to let people know that they should be respected. And if you have a disability and you are abandoned to yourself, the first thing I can tell you is accept yourself, boost your mindset in a way to become an overcomer. When you become an overcomer by doing very good stuff, people will respect you. When people are dancing my music, they are not dancing my music because I'm a disabled. It is because I'm playing good music. When people are reading my book, they are very happy. Sorry. I could have put that on Do Not Disturb. Okay. I was saying that when people are dancing my song, dancing my music, they are not dancing because of a person, because it is a person with disability who played. They are reading my book and they are enjoying themselves. They are learning a lot, not because the book is written by a person with disability, because the story is powerful, and that's where I'm making a difference. So that's the strong message I'm giving to people with disabilities. Do not let your disability challenge you. You need to challenge your disability and be the best in any area you want to go. And then people will respect you no matter what. Even if they want to discriminate you, at a certain point, they have to zip. When I'm teaching, I'm the best teacher in my area. One of the best teacher in my area, and there are a lot of testimony from parents, from students. I'm not because I'm coming to the class in the classroom well prepared to support my students. So I'm giving 100% of my time, my energy to be the best in teaching, and people can see the result. They are not keeping me as a teacher because I'm a person with disability, but it's because I'm proving that I know what I'm teaching. And that's the strong message I'm giving to people with disabilities. Stand up, prove that you can in each area, and people will respect you. Yes.
What makes you, Prof? What makes you choose teaching as a profession?
I told my dad that day when I was 15 years old. I told my dad I'll be or a pastor or a teacher, but mostly teacher. And I became a teacher because I knew that inside me there were some skills that nobody in my family have. And my brothers and sisters will come with their assignment or their homework. I'll be the one to show them, explain to them in a specific way so that they can understand it, and they will understand it so easily, even compared to their regular teacher. And you know, back home, when we have we have to create a study group. Basically, you can meet with your friend, or you can be 3 or 4. Like if you are good at math, you need to find somebody who is good at English. You find somebody who is good at science. Every Saturday we come together. We sit somewhere in an empty place. We work together. You show me what you know in math. I show you what I know in science, and we share that. So finally, I was good in all areas, and everybody wanted me to be part of the group. And I developed that type of teaching skills. And in the long run, I said, why can I should be the teacher then? And let me tell you, I was so discriminated because to be a teacher back home, you have to pass a test, a tough test. And I passed the test all the time. There were the oral version, the interview part. You have to be face to face with two or three people. And the question coming all the time was, why do you think a person with disabilities on crutches should be a teacher? I say, I have the ability to be a teacher, and they make me fail several times, several years. But because God decided that I would be a teacher, I'll end up being a teacher in a different way. So they discriminated me. I said, why can you be a teacher on crutches? The student can push you down. But when I'm teaching now, students are the one welcoming me. I don't have any issue, any behavior issue with my student because I treat them so well. I know what I'm looking for, and I teach them in a very professional way. Yeah.
Prof, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
What would you consider as your greatest achievement as a teacher?
There are a lot of achievements. When I see yesterday, I went to a wedding, and I saw 2 of my students here in the United States. They say, well, so when you see your student in a place where you are not even expecting them, for me, I'm happy to create nurses, police officers, doctors, teachers. Yes, I'm sorry, too many text messages coming. So that's an achievement. That's a lot that I achieved just to prepare other people to become good citizens, to find good jobs. That's one of the greatest achievements in my life. Because wherever I go, I see my students. Wherever I go, in stores, in churches, everywhere I go, I see my students, or I see their parents. They introduce me to their parents. This is my teacher. Please, can you say hello to him? And that make me a celebrity even without wanting to be a celebrity. Yes.
Yes. I think I have my brother from Tanzania joining this conversation.
Yes.
Dr. Kantata, it's good to have you on. We appreciate you. Samori Moloye, we thank you for joining the conversation. Dr. Cantata, you can also join the conversation if you want. That would be great. I have with me a great man who has overcome a lot of obstacles, especially when it comes to polio. He became paralyzed because of not being treated early enough, and he scaled through all of those challenges. Today, he's a top teacher in the United States of America. So for those who just joining us, that's Professor Ouele. Will be having an exploration into his childhood, boyhood, childhood back home, and now we are moving into a phase of the career he chose growing up when he was 15. He was able to envision what he wants to do in life at 15. That was the precise and the best age for any young man to imagine or have the imagination or have a job shadowing opportunity to the career he wants to actually serve humanity. And I'm glad to have you, Prof, as the conversation continues. It appears that a lot of things held you back growing up, and you're able to scale through all of these one step at the other. But initially, what worries you the most as a boy? What was your greatest worry? And
Yeah,
how did you overcome all of the worries? What did you do about them?
yes, as I say, growing in a very poor and hostile environment, I had the right to question myself as a man. Well, what should I do in my future? Should I find a job when I finish my school, my studies? Should I get married? Should I get kids? Should I express myself in front of people who are always looking at me as a sick person? Because people see when they project a person with disability as somebody who is in a need. They don't know that a person with disability can come to you to give you some support. They think that you are there as a beggar. So all those things, that's all that stuff. Should I be able to come as somebody who can provide advices to other people? Those were some questions I was asking when I was growing up. Should I overcome all those obstacles? Should I get a wife? Should I get all those? Should I get a car? How can I drive a car if I have one? How can I play? And you see, all those questions came in my mind. Can I become can I play a game like football, soccer, or basketball? All those questions came in my mind. And each question, I find a solution. For example, I will surprise you that I'm one of the best basketball players on wheelchair here in the United States. We have our team. We have our competition. We play basketball on wheelchair. And we have our competition. So all those questions that came in my mind when I was still growing up allow me to find solution to all those problems. Yes, so, and I grew up trying to find the answer to all the questions I have in my mind when I was growing up as a young man. Yes.
Uh, let's talk about your evolving years as you begin to evolve into your 15, 16, 17. Most boys are challenged with the rush of the hormones of the testosterone and all of that.
Yeah.
Who walk you through the journey of your teenagehood, and what was your most difficult period of your life as a teenager?
Yes, it was a challenge for me because, back home in Africa, parents are not prepared to give all explanation to, or to teach their kids when they are growing up. For example, sexuality, parents are not prepared to share that with their kids to prepare them to be mature, to make a smooth transition from the childhood to the adulthood. And this is one of the challenges parents are not yet ready to overcome, because it is not a topic that you should deal with the parents. I have to find some religious group where I have to go to ask for advices. What should you do if you are in such situations? and also ask advices from my friends who have more knowledge in the area. What should I do to avoid this issue? And I went through those issues by asking advices from different groups, different friends, and but I have already the way to know that what you are telling me is good, what you are telling me is bad. So what you are telling me, if you are asking me to copy bad example, I would get rid of it, because I knew that what you are telling me is wrong. So I grew up by making an easy difference between what is good and what is bad, taking only the good part, trashing the bad part, moving forward, educating myself. We didn't have internet at that time. We have only people. We have only newspaper. You have to read newspaper or read books to educate yourself. I educate myself with through friends, through religious groups. Those were my source of inspiration when I was growing up.
Prof, thank you for sharing that. You know what? The hardest emotional, psychological, and spiritual work that a boy will ever do is becoming a man. That's the hardest.
Yeah.
How were you able to overcome this problem? Do you have can you describe the kind of man you want to be when you were growing up?
Okay. When I was growing up, I projected myself as a very responsible man. Very responsible man. That was who I was. My description of a man. I didn't want to be a person who is going out, drink, become a drunkard, destroying his health, and unable spending money to smoke cigarette, going after females, spending all his money for all those females out and all those stuff. So I grew up projecting myself as a very responsible person who would take care of a very nice family, taking care of kids, providing to their needs to make sure that they are not missing anything, bringing food to the table whenever it's possible, taking care of kids, family, kids and wife, advising other people to become responsible like me. So those were the projections I was having when I was growing up. And that happened, that became a reality, because I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't spend my money. I'm very rational in spending my money. So, and with that money, I help those who are in the need and help myself. So that was the projection I have when I was growing up. And again, that turned to a reality.
I just met your son not too long ago in the day before we start this conversation.
Yes.
And I noticed, I suppose he's a teenager.
Yes.
From what I saw.
Yes.
And teenage boys are hungry for fathers who can care and connect with them. Can you explain how you bond and connect with your boys at home and maybe your community there in the States?
Yes, let me focus with my son. I know that he has no choice than to succeed. And the type of education I'm giving him is a very tough education. I don't tolerate some behavior, and he knows that as a man living in a neighborhood where you can easily go to jail, even for nothing, you have to be very, very careful. I have to discipline him to become a good citizen. I talk to him a lot, and we are like friends, and we share each other. We develop a very powerful relationship, and wherever I'm going with him. I'm training him to be a man. I'm explaining why he should not do this, why he should do that. We have an open conversation, and he is very happy to share any issue he has with me, and that helped him to become a man. And you see, he's becoming a very responsible person, just like me, because I spent too much time with him. discussing, playing games with him, doing everything so that he can have the joy of the job from his father. That's what I'm doing as a father, support him to be a very responsible person like me.
What do you think we can do to guide boys to authentic manhood?
Or I will just advise kids, or if I have to advise boys, or one of the best advice I can give them is that they should not rush. Because one of the issues I see with kids, they want to have everything right away. They are not patient enough. They don't wait. Some are even lazy. They want to have everything without working. What is the consequence? They find the shortcut to reach their goal. And to reach the goal quickly, what happened? Some of them, they go and sign an agreement with the devil, forgetting that the devil promised a lot, give less, and take everything from you. They go to sign some contract with the witchcraft, and you see how they have everything, nice car, nice house, knowing that it's not their natural power, it is from a supernatural power, the witchcraft, and they rush. At a certain point, you see crash, accident, done, because the devil is taken back. He will make you shine for a short period of time, and after that, he will shorten your life. You will go. The logic is that young kids should be the one to bury their kids, their fathers, their parents. But nowadays, because kids are rushing, parents are the ones to bury them. They are burying most of their kids or even all their kids before dying. This is so bad. Kids need to slow down. They need to go step by step, one step at a time. Don't rush. Take good advice from everybody and trash wrong advices. Don't think that you cannot succeed without going to witchcraft. People always think that, oh, if he's a minister, if he's a good singer, if he's a musician, he has a supernatural power that guide him. That's wrong. We need to educate our kids to understand that you can be so powerful. You can be a great musician. I have no magic, but my song is all over the world. I have no magic, but my book is all over the world. All kids need to learn that they can succeed without magic. They need to slow down, take each step at a time. Do not imitate, do not copy wrong example. Be the leader, not the follower.
That's powerful, bro.
Yes.
And that's to the kids. What do you say to their parents?
I will tell parents to take their full responsibility, because most of the time, parents think that as a teacher, parents think that it is the only responsibility of teachers to educate their kids, and they abandon their responsibilities. They think that the teacher is the one to do everything for their kids, and when the kids is misbehaving, they are blaming the teacher for that misbehavior, forgetting that they have their full responsibility in the education of their kids. Parents should take full responsibility to prepare good citizens. The best education starts from home. It is not in school. It is from home. Parents should do their job. They should train their kids. They should educate them at home, showing them what they need to do, what they should not do, communicate with them all the time. Each opportunity should be a teaching moment for parents. Yes, they should do that, and they should clear their responsibility. I know today educating a kid is not easy. You can be the best educator and do not have kids who are well educated, who are following, copying only bad example. But parents need to do their job first. Most today, it is not the case. They are so busy doing other stuff, staying late outside with friends, doing other stuff. They don't spend their valuable time with their kids. The direct consequence is that kids are abandoned to themselves. They have to find different way to educate themselves, and most of the time they chose the wrong way. So parents need to do their job. Education starts from home, not in school.
Thank you so much, bro. As a teacher, I want us to look at this. And statistics are revealing that boys are dropping out of school more than girls.
Yeah.
Boys are failing in English language. Boys in readings, they are not doing well. In maths, they are not scaling up as they should do. What do you consider is wrong with young boys of today in education?
Yeah, you are right. You know, the general tendency in the demography now is that we have more female than male. You agree, right? So if you look in every class, in my classes, I have less boys, more girls. So that's the general tendency. But now, if you look at, we examine some courses, you can easily notice that boys are more hyper than girls. So they get distracted easily by so many stuff. They want to go and play, they want to go and do this, they have so many stuff in their mind compared to girls who may be less busy. And what is the result? They think that by doing so, they can easily succeed. But that's too much distraction. And when the distraction becomes too much, it put them far away from the education. And that's why what justifies the drop, why they are most of them are dropping. Some want to start working very early. They say, okay, instead of going to the university, I prefer to start a job, a job when I'm still in high school. And when they start having money, they lose control. They say, oh yeah, I have money. And they forget that if they go to school, they have higher education, they will have more money. So because they start having more money when they are still young, that becomes a distraction, and they say, okay, I can drop the school and just start working. But if you compare a student who dropped early to school and just doing some minor job, and another one who say, I'm going to focus on my education to complete at least a master or a doctorate, that child, one space stuff of that person is maybe 3 to 4 times, even 10 times higher than the one who dropped. So they drop because they are copying sometimes bad example. They drop because they are not well advised by their parents. They drop because they don't have the financial support they need. So there are various reasons we can mention that justify the why boys are dropping the school early compared to females.
Yeah, Prof, I know you're a great teacher. I know you've experienced teaching different character of boys.
Yes.
You understand? What character of boys has given you the most difficulty or challenges while teaching them?
I'm a special education teacher. A special education teacher in the United States is somebody who is well educated. It is not easy to be a special education in the United States. To be a special education, you need to be a general education teacher first, and then you have to have an additional training, additional degree to be certified to teach those people with disabilities. So I went through all those stuff. So, and I'm able to teach people with learning disabilities, people with behavior issue, autism, all those kids, I teach them. Based on my personal experience, the most difficult kids are, I'm even teaching gifted and talented kids. The gifted and talented kids are kids with basically they are more intelligent than other kids. Because they are more intelligent than other kids, if you put them in the regular classroom, they are bored and they disturb the classroom. So the more difficult groups I teach are kids with behavior issues, emotional behavior disorder. That's what we call it, emotional behavior disorder, and gifted and talented. Teaching kids and gifted and talented kids is very difficult because if you don't come with some good idea to challenge them, to keep them busy, they will finish the assignment quicker than others, and they will be bored. They have nothing to do. They will start disturbing the classroom. Kids with emotional behavior disorder, yes, you have to teach them. You have to manage their behavior. And sometimes, if you are not well trained, you will spend more time managing the behavior than teaching. That's why it's not easy. You have to know the student, build a kind of confidence so that the student can trust you and have consequences. If you don't do this, these are the consequences you're going to face. That's what I do, and it is like a contract. We create rules and regulations. You violate, this is the consequence. And that's, again, those are the two groups: gifted and talented, emotional behavior disorder kids. Yes.
Wow. You were vast, Prof. I would love to ask you this question.
Yes.
What are you doing about your personal legacy, and what do you think you would love to be remembered for?
That's a tough question. I want to be remembered as somebody who help people to succeed, an overcomer who help other people to overcome their obstacles. I'm not just saying it. There are many people. I touched the life of many people around the world, people who were homeless, hopeless, completely desperate, and I flip their life around just with my action. So I want to be remembered as somebody who has the ability to touch people's life, to change people's life, to let them see life in a very positive way instead of in a negative way, to let people know that everything, the success is a matter of mindset. If you put your mind on something, you are so determined, you can succeed. And I prepare many people to be successful in life, not only in Africa, in America, everywhere. So I want to be remembered as somebody, as an overcomer, as somebody who helped others to succeed, a leader, the voice of the voiceless. Yes.
Oh, Prof. I know you're in your studio, right?
Yes, yes.
You really want to give us a song that will lead us to close this conversation? Oh, as we draw this to a close, friends, those who will watch this after now, I still have with me Professor Ouele. Is a man who have overcome many obstacles on his journey to manhood. He was challenged with polio, and he got paralyzed with that. He overcame it, become the teacher of his childhood dream, one of the best teacher in the world. We appreciate his coming tonight, and we appreciate everything you've shared about your adventure, from your father to your support system to what you do today in the world. It's been very amazing. Yeah. And as we get ready, Prof, I'm still connecting with the audience that will be on this this episode after today. You know, I love to close this with something I believe, for me, the greatest question I have ever asked myself.
Yes.
Many years ago, the thing that bothers me or worries me the most in life is, how do I live? Why do I live? So it took me many years, because it became the kind of the central question of my everyday question, my heart. And I remember when I bought a book authored by John Maxwell, Put Your Dream to Test.
John Maxwell.
I read that book. Yes, I read that book. And after, I said, what's my dream? What do I dream for? What do I live? So I come to create an acronym for the word LIVE, which is LIVE. And that became the central purpose of why I live today.
Yeah.
And it's nothing but, when you look at the first letter in the word LIVE, you will find it with L. And what that means to me is to love
Yes.
others. I believe love is the sunshine. Sun just shines on every one of us, and we appreciate the beauty it brings to us. He never approach us that, okay, Ola, you are owing me because I've given you, excuse me, I've given you light to the world. I've given light to the green grasses and all of that, but it's always there.
Yeah.
And no, I believe if we look at ourselves like that, that we're here to bring like that sunshine to everybody.
Yeah.
And that is what loves mean to me. Is the power, the most powerful force in the universe, as far as I know. So I said, oh, as I live this journey of life, I want to love others.
Yeah.
And I share with everyone is loving others is why we are here to live.
Of course.
And all the things that you find around us. And the next letter there is I, which is to inspire others, which you are doing all over the world.
Yeah.
You know, I say, look, Ola, I'm going to inspire the world. My life is going to be very inspiring. My work is going to be very inspiring. So I call to everyone listening that I will listen after this conversation. You are here to inspire people. And someone will ask, how do I inspire people? Yeah, just become the breath. Because the word inspire is from a Latin word that says inspiring.
Yeah.
When you enter a community or a particular place that the energy is low, make sure that you bring the energy of everybody there back to life. That's an inspiration.
Of course.
Yeah. Yes. And the next letter is V, which for me is value others.
Yeah.
You know, you have to value other people and add value to humanity. Right. We're here with our value creation potentials. And when we don't add value to humanity, we have robbed humanity of our potentials, which is not helping the collective existence of the human race. So you are here to create value, or make sure you create value. And this conversation is a value creation because the content will go a long way. Some people will see this and bring that kind of value they are seeking for into their lives. And the last letter in the word believe is E. And he told me, educate others. You know, educate others. Yeah. This is what you know that people cannot take away from.
No.
Then make sure you give it to people. So initially I was thinking, when you talk about educate, what does it mean? Everything you have in life can be taken away from you. The only thing that cannot be taken away from you is what you know.
Yeah.
And it is that what you know that gives you an advantage over others, which is called knowledge. No edge. No edge. Something you know that gives you an edge over the other person. And that's the word educate. So it leads me to understand that educate means, somebody put it this way, Prof. Said, if you want to plant for just 1 year, you plant a corn. If you want to plant for 10 years, you can plant a tree. But if you are planning for a lifetime, educate children. They are the greatest asset we have in the world. So when you become an educator that you are building the next asset of humanity. And that's the way I have chosen to live my life, to love, to inspire, to create value, add value, and to educate others. As we bring this to a close, and I believe those who are listening, you will take these pillars. They have become the pillars of the creed. And that's why you see here, LIVE. Means to love. That becomes a logo for our brand. All of them.
Right.
So thank you, Prof, for coming on this conversation, groundbreaking conversation. We appreciate you sharing your adventure with us. It's been wonderful, and I love it. I said I really, really, really love it. If I have to share your book and read again, it will be a lot of conversation because there's a lot of knowledge that one can take from there. But as we part, where can people find it before you give us a part?
Yes, just first of all, ask people to they can buy my book on Amazon. The book is called Beyond Stairs. That's the second edition because I have the first edition and second edition. Beyond, Beyond Stairs. Second edition. Make sure that you find the second edition on Amazon, Barnes and Novels, and I'm available on I have my website, www.professor Ouele. Ouele is spelled O-U-E-L-E. www.professorouele.com. Or you can, that's where you can join me. You can see what I'm doing on my website. And again, buy the book, read the book. That book is a story of an overcomer. It may help you to become an overcomer as well. A lot of inspiration in the book.
Oh, thank you, bro. Do you have a song for us as we close this?
You know, most of my songs are copyright, but I don't know if I play the YouTube, maybe they can restrict your. They can restrict.
Yeah, that's good. If it's copyright, that's okay. That's respect your copyright, and we want to thank you for coming on this conversation.
A section, or I can put a YouTube. Okay, let me put the YouTube just a few seconds for people to listen.
All right. Well, Prof is still trying to turn on his YouTube and
irrésistiblement. Quand est penché, après le tombeau, et l'écouter où il est penché, il tombera, il tombera, il tombera, il tombera, il tombera, il tombera, irrésistiblement. Yeah, I can stop now.
that was so fun. I so lovely, bro.
Yeah,
that was so fun. What does that mean? How do we interpret that?
Yeah, it's in French. You know, I'm a writer. People have to decode my song to understand what I'm saying. In French, you say l'arbre est penché, il tombera. The tree is bent, the tree will fall. But when you look carefully, it's not the tree. It is the dictatorship. Vanity is life is vanity. Everything should go away. The tree, even if you are a dictator, because I'm an activist, you are a dictator killing your own population. Very soon you are going to be like a tree bend that the tree will fall, because the condition is permanent. Vanity, the life is vanity. We have to come to an end one day. So that's a strong message that I'm having between.
I understand, bro. Yes. You say nothing lasts forever.
Nothing lasts forever. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
On that note, that's where we close today's conversation. Always remember this from Professor Ouele. Nothing lasts forever.
And
thank you, Prof.
Be an overcomer. Yes.
Thank you so much, Prof. It's good to have you. God bless.
Thank you.
To all our listeners, thank you, researcher. Thank you, Goji 0889. Thanks for joining. We appreciate it. Have a wonderful day, Prof, and enjoy the rest of the day. Till next week, we meet again for yet another episode. I look forward to having you with another wonderful guest. Bye.
Bye-bye.